Awesome.
I just wanted to add though, we were talking about, to say people have been in lockdown and self-isolating and things like that. Imagine your daily routine if you're using all of these chemicals and you're in lockdown and you're indoors, you're constantly breathing it in, washing yourself in it, brushing your teeth with, you know what I'm saying? It's bad.
In dust also, you're probably breathing in a lot of dust on top of all these chemicals, and it's just irritating your lungs, and then that's going to make them more susceptible to these chemicals. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm back once again with my good friend Kayleigh, and we're here today to talk about different toxic chemicals that you would find in everyday items that you might use, such as things like sunscreen, hand sanitizer, cleaners that you use. And the reason that we want to talk about this today is I've been talking to a few doctors, or I had a few doctors on these roundtables that we've been doing, and some of them talk about toxins and toxins that are in the terrain, and a lot of people like to bring up different radio waves and all these frequencies and people spraying things in the sky. But yeah, maybe those things are affecting us, but I think that we can look very closely to things that we use every day that you can't even deny have an effect on you. And this is what Kayleigh brought to my attention, and I was pretty aware of it before, but I think that with everything that's going on, we should look into this, because if you want to keep a healthy immune system, what better way to do it than to keep yourself away from toxic chemicals? So, hey, Kayleigh, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Oh, loving it. We're kind of coming out of lockdown a little bit, but I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
same here.
best
Actually,
apocalypse ever. That's all I got to say. It's great. It's great. I can't complain. Yeah. So, when we first were talking about doing this, I was thinking about sunscreen, because we're coming to summer over here in the U.S., even though you're going into your winter. So I think we could talk about that a little bit. It'll keep it light, and then we could talk more about hand sanitizer after that, because that's something that everybody's using, but we don't want to give away the goods yet. So let's talk about sunscreen. And first of all, let's get into, because for me in the United States, we always were taught to wear sunscreen. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I remember getting burned really bad. We would go down to Myrtle Beach, and I would be like a lobster. It was crazy. So I remember just lathering up with all the sunscreen, and then pretty much ever since then, I would wear it. And then the past couple of years, I've heard that there was toxic chemicals. I never really looked into it. I was just like, yeah, seems right. So I would try to get the natural one anywhere if I went to a store. And then I would just try to also limit my time in the sun, and just, I would go paddleboarding, but I wear a hat, like a big hat, and I'll alternate wearing a shirt and stuff. So I figured I try to rely less on chemicals and more on, just common sense. So what's it like? What was it like in the UK growing up? Because that's where you're from, everybody. So, she's living in Australia now, but she's from the UK. What was the mood there like with sunscreen in your experience?
Oh, people are pretty lackadaisical. Well, they were when I was growing up with using sunscreen, because in England the sun isn't that strong. Like, you can still get burnt, you can, and I did when I was a child, but it's not as strong. So people are a bit more lazy with it in England. However, in Australia, it is absolutely necessary that you do wear some sunscreen or cover up, or because even in Melbourne, when it's one of the milder places, you can get really badly burnt. So yeah.
So what was the propaganda like? So it probably wasn't as bad in the UK then growing up. They probably weren't, because here, I mean, everybody's like, if you don't put on sunscreen, you're going to die of cancer tomorrow.
Yeah, well, look, honestly, when I was growing up, it wasn't really like that. But as I became an adult, got older, it was in every magazine, every newspaper. Everyone was talking about the same thing as what you just said. If you don't wear it on your face, you're going to get skin cancer all over your face. Like, even if you're going out and it's cloudy, apparently you're supposed to wear sunscreen. So I think the older I got, the more I don't know if I became more aware of it because I was older, or whether it was just society, you know what I'm saying? But then when it came to Australia, there's a hole in the ozone layer around this area. So everyone is very like, you know, aware of skin cancer and sunscreen and things like that. So yeah, everyone's a bit more like thorough about it. Mm.
All right, that's cool. So, what have you found then recently with your research that you've been doing with sunscreen?
Yeah, so I mean, for a few years now, I have been trying to look at the labels on the sunscreen packages and trying to avoid certain chemicals because what I did discover was in a lot of sunblock there are like nanoparticles and they can penetrate through the skin, so they actually get into the body. So even though you think that your skin can block everything, it actually doesn't. It absorbs a lot of things, and it can reach the bloodstream because your skin is highly porous. So you know things are going to get through there. Unlike if you eat something, you've got your digestive system, which is a sort of filter, isn't it? Whereas your skin, it doesn't really do that kind of thing. So yeah, I just kind of found that in sunscreen, the kind of chemicals that you're going to find are, you're going to have to edit this bit.
No, that's okay. So I remember. Well, what is the book? What's the name of the book that you read? Maybe you could tell us about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, so it's called Toxic Beauty. So in this book, it does label. It does show a lot of the ingredients in a lot of things like moisturizers, sunblocks, makeups, shampoos, toothpaste, everything. And it shows all of the toxic chemicals, but it also shows safe chemicals too. So when I read that book, that was when I changed my life basically, and I methodically went through all the labels in everything that I was using, all the products. If I went shopping, I would look at the labels before I purchased anything. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was about maybe about 3 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Have you noticed a change at all in your life at all? You know, like have you more energy or anything like that?
I've noticed that my skin's healthier, to be honest, um, because I was partial to getting like, like dry skin, moisturizing a lot more, that kind of thing. But now I don't feel like I need to do that as much. So yeah, I'd say I did notice a small change. But to be fair, a lot of the things, a lot of um, the ingredients have long-term side effects on the health. So you wouldn't notice maybe till years down the line. So I'll give you an example. So talcum powder.
Yes.
So Johnson and Johnson actually were sued because a lady, she got ovarian cancer, and she'd been using talcum powder on herself for many, 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 many years. And you can actually find online. It is online. It is available. It is public for people to see that. Yeah, she managed to sue, and so you're not going to notice effects straight away. You're not necessarily going to notice it. If I stop doing something today, I'm not going to necessarily notice it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If I start using something today, I might not notice the effects until years down the line. And that's how a lot of these things work. And also, a lot of tumors and cancers that have been taken out of the body and removed have been found to have some of these nasty chemicals inside. So what's happening in the body is absorbing these things, and over the years, it's storing them somewhere. And now they're being found in tumors and cancers. I mean, what does that suggest to you?
Well, what it sounds like to me is from after hearing a couple of these doctors talk about exosomes, it sounds like that because what they're saying is exosomes, they look just like viruses, but they'll surround toxins and they try to hold in that toxin. So maybe what's going on is you're just getting clumps and clumps of these and they're causing healthy cells to become tumorous cancer cells. I mean, it makes sense. It's something like that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it can't be good for you, right? So
100%.
yeah. So what
And
are
it
some
kind
of
of
the chemicals? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it kind of feels like to me as though perhaps the tumors and cancers are an encapsulation. So it's the body's way of protecting itself and, you know, creating a barrier around these chemicals, but it's staying there and it's just multiplying and multiplying. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And like you were saying, when you eat something, not that it's the best for you, but at least it'll go through your system. It goes through like the torus field that is your body, and it doesn't always go into you. It doesn't break that blood brain barrier to get in your brain. But when you put things on your skin, sometimes when you inhale them or if you inject them too, they'll go right into your blood system. But especially your skin, people don't realize it is the largest organ on your body. So these things get absorbed pretty readily right into you.
that's right. So back to what we were saying about the ingredients in the sunscreens. Now, if I'm honest, when you read a lot of the ingredients on a lot of things, a lot of them you cannot even pronounce them. So some of them have actually been shortened because they're just so long and you just wouldn't even understand like what it is, you know? So for example, in a sunscreen, you would find something called benzophenone 3. You'd also find something called 4-MBC, that's been shortened. Also avobenzone, homosalate, OMCs, butyl methoxydibenzylamethane. See what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Sounds like
but
you're singing a song. It's like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's like, all right, just
that's right. So when I was reading the book and looking at the labels on sunscreens and things, they were the main ones that you would find in common sunscreens, such as, you know, Nivea. I don't know if you have that brand in the States.
oh yeah, we do. Nivea, yes.
Yeah, they are a major company. And actually, when I have a look, is it Unilever? Let me just see. I'm not
Yep,
sure.
Unilever. Actually, Unilever has well, they had some stuff here right in Connecticut. So yeah.
Yeah, they're a huge company and they have products with so many bad chemicals in, and so does Procter and Gamble. They're also another one. So major brands such as those, I actually avoid them because I don't trust them. They're the ones that I've found when I've been shopping to have many of these chemicals. And you can, like we were saying before, you can get natural sunscreens. They are available. It is possible. But the thing is, if I talk about the brands here, it's going to be different to England. It's going to be different to in the States. So that's where it
Yeah.
gets complicated.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I would suggest just you talking about the chemicals and maybe if you know some of the effects, because then people could just look for themselves. You know, I always tell people, you know, especially if you're going to eat something, you should look at the ingredient. But if you're going to put it on your skin, and if you think that it could be actually absorbed even worse than eating it, and it doesn't seem like that. It seems like if you eat something, it's going to be absorbed a lot more. And yes, many things are. But like, think about it, if you eat a quarter, it's going to come through you somehow. But if you like grind up that metal and put it on your skin, it's going to get sucked in your bloodstream.
100%. So with the nanoparticles, the reason why they're dangerous in the sunscreens is because they are a type of metal. So they can actually be absorbed through the skin and like go straight through the bloodstream. And look, some metals, like, you know, things that are in food, they're fine, but there's other metals that aren't fine. You know, you don't want to be bombarding your body with all these metals and things like that. So they're the most dangerous ones in the sunscreens, and a lot of the chemicals can cause rashes, allergic reactions, some actually even cancerous long term if you're using them all the time. And I actually have a theory. So, you know how we are told that the sun causes skin cancer? You know, when you're sunbathing and things like that. My theory is that, so when you have a melanoma in women, a lot of the time it's most commonly found on the legs. Okay. So then what I'm saying is that think about the routine of a woman before she goes to the beach to sunbathe. She's going to shave her legs. Okay. So then in doing that, she's removing the top layer of the skin, which is called the stratum corneum. Okay. So then this is a primary barrier for protecting the legs. So if you're removing that, like that's not a good thing for a start. Then you're going to moisturize. Maybe you're using Nivea. or some Procter and Gamble moisturizer full of chemicals. So the skin's natural barrier's already been removed, slathered with a load of moisturizer. Think about the shaving foam you're using. There's chemicals in there too.
That's all right. The cats interrupt this all the time, so it's fine.
Because he's not getting attention. So so you're doing that, you're smothering your legs. And then you're thinking about when you're going to the sun, then you're using the sunblock, then you're sunbathing. So I feel as though, the freshly exposed layers of vulnerable skin are more vulnerable to cancers because of that routine. You see what I'm saying? I don't think that if you just walk out into the sun and you do a bit of sunbathing, you're going to get skin cancer. I personally just don't think that.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Think about humans throughout time. They've always been in the sun, but they haven't always shaved their legs and put moisturizer on. That's just something that's probably started happening since like the 20th century, sometime maybe in the early 20th century, that women they used to cover up when they went to the beach. So it's not like they're worried about shaving and putting on all this moisturizer with these really toxic chemicals in them.
Exactly, 100%. And I think that the fact that the melanomas is most commonly found on the legs in women, that fits in with what I'm trying to say. So that's my personal theory about that with the sun and sunscreens.
Well, I like that. So you named some of those chemicals. What did it say in the book? Were there any studies that have been done or direct causes to illnesses?
Yeah, so in the book there is a lot of scientific research that's been done. So there's also another book called The Shopper's Bible. That's another good book to read. So although what I'm saying now, a lot of it is my personal opinions, and I'm, stating what the book said with the chemicals. But if you read the books and you want scientific evidence and facts, then that's a good way to go. For me, I'm not going to spend too long on that today because we'd be here all day. It took me about 2 weeks to read the book, didn't it?
Yeah, no, that's cool. So, is there anything else that you wanted to say about the sunscreen issue or anything like that?
No, not really. All I would say is that just read the labels and look at that book for reference, because there's a few pages with a list of ingredients. So if you get stuck and you look in, use that book for reference. That's what I do. And it's hard to remember everything. It really is. But over time, you do sort of start to recognize and then be like, oh, no, I'm avoiding that. I know what that is. So,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you can't pronounce it, don't use it.
Yeah, I hear you. And one of the problems I see is that the natural stuff costs a little bit more sometimes, but you can always find a good deal if you go to places. I know you don't have these like in the UK or Australia, but here we have these places called Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and they have all this brand name stuff or off-brand stuff that they sell cheap. And that's one good place. That's where I usually get stuff like that. And yeah, you might pay a couple bucks more, but it's so worth it in the long run. Think about, you're going to save yourself so much in medical bills down the road and just hassle. And, I don't know, maybe it's just a placebo effect, but I feel that I just feel better when I use it. And like it smells better to me. So that just means that it's probably better for me. So that's one solution. I would say do that. And then also just be really conscious of your time in the sun. Just don't overdo it. And I think that's just the helpful tips that we can focus on now. But then I'm really excited to talk about this next thing, which is hand sanitizer. Now, I've been a very strong so I've been somebody who's against hand sanitizer for a long time because I saw that it kills 99.9% of the germs or bacteria or whatever. But then I'm like, well, yeah, wouldn't that leave the strongest 0.01% to then breed and cause some kind of crazy bacteria? I don't know. Sounds plausible, but I also know though that just throwing alcohol on your hands all the time can't be good. It dries out your skin. It leaves your probably more open and susceptible to things out there. Not only are you destroying the healthy flora and fauna and bacteria on your skin that might help you to combat anything you come across, but you're, like I said, you're opening your stuff because your skin's cracking and it's peeling. So tell me what you need to learn about hand sanitizer.
Okay, so there is in a lot of antibacterial anything, okay, such as soaps, toothpaste, even, would you believe? There is a ingredient called triclosan, and this is a highly irritant substance. And if you think about if you're using it on your hands every day, you're going to be causing yourself some problems. You're going to have some skin infections. You're going to be opening, you're going to be more susceptible really to germs because you're destroying the protective layer of your skin in that way, you know? So when you think about that, I also think that it's going to kill all of the good germs too, if you're using it all the time, because we've got bacteria on our skin, which we need. It's good for us. But if you're constantly using the antibacterial things, you're going to be destroying the good stuff. And then, you know, it's like how antibiotics work, the same principle. And so you're just not going to be doing yourself any favors.
So what about somebody who's like, wait, what's wrong with antibiotics? I've never heard. What are you saying? I thought it was a miracle drug. Why don't you explain that a little bit for people?
Oh, because it just messes with the gut flora, doesn't it? And it also kills a lot of the good bacteria in the gut, which is something else that we need to keep our bodies healthy.
In the what? In the gut? In the gut? Sorry, I got to make fun of your accent. It's part of the
That's
show. We do
okay.
have to have some humor, right? It is. Yeah, no, that's very true. You're gonna destroy a lot of the healthy bacteria and stuff inside you. So you have to make sure that it's something you really need, for sure.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
back to the hand sanitizer or the antibacterial.
So back to the triclosan. That ingredient actually last year was banned in the US. So it's still in use in Australia, but that bad. It's been banned in by the is it the FDA in
Yeah,
America?
yeah.
So they banned it just recently. So think about how many years we've been using this ingredient, and they've finally decided, oh, that's really not good, is it? So let's ban it.
They always do that. They got to have their run, you know. It's like, oh, cigarettes, they're great, you know. Doctors used to be like, yeah, smoke cigarettes, they're fun. What are you, some kind of wimp? You pussy boy,
Exactly.
smoke cigarettes, and then it's like, oh yeah.
So triclosan actually also weakens the immune system. So how is that going to help us when we're trying to boost the immune system during a pandemic, for example? We're going to weaken it by using this stuff. Well, you guys don't use it anymore because it's banned, but we do. And it also affects the endocrine system and your thyroid. It can affect your thyroid. So
That's not good. So they've been using it here for years. They already had the effect. And what I also like to remind people or just tell people if they're not aware that these chemicals will build up in your system and they basically just get trapped in your system, and you have a level that after a while can become toxic, and you could get sick or have health problems. And then what happens is you go see a doctor, and in today's medicine they always want to tell you that it's an outside source, that it's something like a germ that's coming in to infect you, when it could be just an imbalance inside you, or just buildup of toxic chemicals.
sorry, it just cut out there, so I didn't hear the last bit. A buildup of toxins, did you say?
Yeah, so it's just your body's reacting to a buildup of toxic chemicals over time, where people then think, that it's like some kind of exterior germ or virus, but it's really just because you have all these toxic chemicals that have built up after years inside
Yeah,
you.
100%. 100%. And actually, because of that, and you're using it every day, it can actually affect cell growth and development. So you're going to have a sort of like an overload also, you know what I'm saying? So like that's exactly what cancer is too. Yeah, I mean, it's just cell reproduction gone wrong.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I think that's got a lot to do with it. And as I said earlier, it's not found just in hand sanitizer. It's found, well, it was, and it still is in Australia, found in soaps. So if you're using antibacterial soap with triclosan in it, you could be in a public bathroom. It's probably in there. Then you're doing it at home because you don't want to catch it, COVID-19, for example. And then you're using the antibacs also. How bad is that? You may be doing that 4 or 5 times a day without even thinking about it.
Yeah,
So,
I can't see that as a good thing that's going on in your body.
and even if it's even been found in toothpastes. And so if you're doing that, you're brushing your teeth, your gums are really sensitive also, and they absorb things readily too, yeah? So you're absorbing it even in through your gums.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's really crazy, and at least it was banned here in the U.S. I guess that's a good thing. Are there any other chemicals that you found in hand sanitizer? I mean, the alcohol itself, like I said, that's you're not even supposed like on rubbing alcohol. If you're looking on rubbing alcohol, it says wear rubber gloves when you handle it. But yeah, in the hand sanitizer, it's fine. It's like all right, yeah.
Yeah, look, so as for other ingredients, it depends what the brand is. You know, they all have their differences. They have additives, they have preservatives. If you get a natural one, you're not going to find that really. But I will say if something smells really sort of perfumey, they've also used other ingredients because they want to mask the bad smells because of all of the chemicals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because I went to a convenience store recently and the guy handed me something, and then like the rest of the night I smelled like a French whore from part of my language, but I was like, what is this smell that's on me? It was a hand sanitizer, I guess. I was like, I would rather get the COVID and die than smell like this. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. So did you find any, so with the sunscreen, at least we found that you can get natural ones. What about hand sanitizer? Do you have any solutions for that?
Yeah, you can get a natural hand sanitizer. I've actually got one in my bathroom. I've got all the products in front of me that I wanted to talk about, and I've actually forgotten that one. But yeah, you can get a natural hand sanitizer. So a lot of natural ones have essential oils in. So for example, tea tree, that is a natural antiseptic. You have to be careful with that one as well. But yeah,
Why do you have to be careful with it?
because if you overuse that, it can have the same effect on the body. I think it's a hormone disruptor if you have too much use of tea tree oil. So a lot of things, a lot of ingredients that are toxic affect your hormones. So they can be synthetic hormones. So for example, you have your own estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Depends, you know, we have the same male and female. It's just at to what level. Um, except you don't have progesterone actually. Men don't. But if you can have a synthetic chemical that acts as a hormone disruptor, that can replace your body's natural hormone. So it tricks your body into thinking that you've got a hormone running through your body, but you haven't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense because that's the same thing that happens with Red Bull. There's a chemical in Red Bull, the energy drink, when you drink it too much, that your brain will stop making it because it realizes there's an overabundance in it. So then when you stop drinking it, your brain no longer makes it, and you have this time where it takes for your body to catch up, and you know you have all these issues. So yeah, I could see that, especially with hormones, because I heard that estrogen is a really big problem because in plastic leaches a lot of estrogen like BPA, and
Yes.
a lot of it builds up. It's toxic. It's, you know, it gets to the points where it's like not even healthy for women. It's nothing that is healthy. It's just like way out of the stratosphere, these levels. Yeah, so I know I get exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%. And BPA, that's another chemical that's found, like you said, in plastic bottles. But it has actually been found in products too. I haven't listed specifically which products, but it has been found. I think you find it in shampoos, maybe.
Yeah, with the microbeads, they use plastic microbeads in a lot of like facial scrubs too, and those end up in the drinking water. So that's why, you know, if you're drinking water out of your tap or you're using it to make your coffee without filtering it somehow, not only are there all kinds of chemicals, but it's possible that you have micro plastics that you're ingesting and you're not even realizing it.
Yeah, 100%. And while we're on that note, when we're using these products as well, a lot of them are going into the environment and the aquatic system, because you're flushing these things or you're rinsing down the drain these things, you know, you're washing your hair, you're rinsing it all, or you're cleaning your sink or your bathroom, and all the chemicals in these products are going into the water system, because not a lot of them are biodegradable. They stay, the molecules stay in the water, and they actually affect aquatic life also. So it's the environment too that's affected by these things. It's not just the human body. For example, if you're wearing sunscreen, say it's a nice sunny day, everyone's at the beach, right? How many people are going to be wearing Nivea sunscreen, for example? They've gone to the store on the way to the beach. They've picked up the sunscreen because it's one of the most popular brands. And then they're going into the water, they're going into the sea, and that's rinsing off all into the ocean or the sea, wherever it is. That's not good, is it? I mean, I think that a lot of damage to coral reefs and things is probably something to do with that. You know, like the bleaching of the coral reefs and things. I mean, no. As far as I'm aware, no one's done a study on the effect of sunscreen on fish and coral reefs and whatever else is in the water at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, at least the fish aren't getting skin cancer, though. You know what I mean? Maybe they need sunscreen too. We should have a whole campaign. We got to start getting the fish some sunscreen. And by the way, you said hormone disruptor earlier. Hormone disruptor was my nickname in high school. The hormone disruptor. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. It's terrible. I was a nerd. But anyway.
Why is that specifically?
I just try to make silly puns, so I should have said it right after you said it, but it took me a while. I forgot and then remembered. All right, so we talked about sunscreen, we talked about hand sanitizer, and then the healthy alternatives to that. Because, you know, I mean, obviously, it's not like you want to just stay away from everything. It is a good idea to wash your hands, but I would not use antibacterial stuff. You just wash it with normal soap, and, you know, don't go crazy, because your skin does have a natural defense mechanism. You know, it's the largest organ in your body. It knows what's up. Are there, now I've seen some stuff, I think, like you said, tea tree oil and maybe something with olive or whatever, not olive oil, but olive bark or whatever. I can't remember, but there are some that will boost that. Like, and it doesn't, there's certain soaps that you could use, and even body soaps that help you. And I know that there's like, I think it's called defense soap. Maybe that's not it, but
well, I have one here actually.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
neem and aloe vera. So this is a natural one. So the aloe vera, that's also good. This was from my local health store, and it just says pure essential oils, lemongrass, rosemary, lavender, and apparently it contains ingredients with natural healing and soothing qualities, beneficial for sensitive skin. That's what it says. But this is like handmade, you know, by like a small company. It's not like a big brand or anything like that. And I've checked and read all the labels. It smells really nice too. So a lot of things, you know, there's beeswax or natural oils that are used to make soaps and things. So yeah, you could use something like that. But always read the ingredients, because, for example, this one, I'll tell you the ingredients. Okay, so it's got olive oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil, organic neem oil, aloe vera gel, hemp seed oil, lemongrass essential oil, rosemary, lavender pure essential oil, no sodium lauryl sulfate. That's a really big one to avoid when you're looking at soaps and shampoos. And that's one of the most popular ones too. It's an irritant. But yeah, I read it and I was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. So a lot of these essential oils will naturally be beneficial for the skin anyway, like you said. You know, you don't need all of the tryptophans and all of the crap that's in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's one all those ingredients sounded pretty good, but aloe vera, that's one thing that you have to stay away from actually if you have a sunburn, because what it does is it wants to heal the skin, and the quickest way to heal it is to peel it. So if you use aloe, you're more likely to peel. I would say maybe like coconut oil or, you know, whatever works good for you on your skin, but just be careful with aloe after you burn. But other than that, it is good for you.
That's a good point.
wanted to ask you again, what was the name of that chemical? Sodium fluoride, the one that's in a lot of different soaps and shampoos?
Oh yeah, okay. So that one was called sodium lauryl sulfate, but there's two. There's sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium lauryl sulfate. They act as foaming agents. So you know when you're brushing your teeth or you're washing your hair and it's all going all bubbly and foamy, that's the main job of a sodium lauryl. But it's an irritant actually, and it can disrupt the natural protective barrier of the skin also.
So it'll basically burn it off or peel it off, or what does it do?
Well, if you're washing your hair and you're brushing your teeth, you're literally scrubbing it away, and that makes it more sort of easier to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But that is found in a lot of like bubble baths and shampoos, things like that. So I actually had a look. There is a company called The Body Shop. I don't know if you have that in the States.
We do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I was going through this transition of clearing out my cupboard of all the toxic crap, I thought, right, The Body Shop does natural things. It said it's a paraben-free shampoo. Parabens, they're another chemical that I try to avoid. We can go into that soon because it's been found in breast cancer, believe it or not. Well, they've been found in breast cancer, sorry. So when I went in, I was like, okay, paraben free, this free, that free, this looks good, I'll read it. Then I saw the sodium lauryl sulfate, and I was like, well, it's not. It's claiming that it's healthier and more natural, but it's actually not. And they're the kind of chemicals that will stay in the water system too, you know, when you're washing your hair.
Mm-hmm.
And you're rinsing it down the drain and it's all foamy and, you know, or you're brushing your teeth or whatever. They're the kind of chemicals that will stay, but they are so common. They're found in so many products. Like when I was looking at things to buy, they were in almost everything. I was like, my goodness, you can hardly escape them, you know?
Yeah, so it's kind of like The Body Shop is like the gatekeeper of the, you think it's all natural and stuff, but maybe the chemicals, they don't sound as bad, or maybe, they're not cancerous, but like you said, they're ripping off the layer of your skin, or they're helping that. So they're just aiding the process,
Yeah,
so.
100%. And they're highly irritant too. So, you know, when you think someone's got dermatitis, for example, I mean, it's probably caused by sodium lauryl, if I'm honest. It causes a lot of irritations on the skin. So the skin's reacting, saying, look, it's telling you, saying, look, something's wrong here, mate. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're like, well, what is it? I don't understand what it is. It's just my skin. I'll just put some medicine on it, or coconut oil or whatever, when really the root cause of it will be one of those chemicals. If we just stop using that, you would probably have better skin health, you know? While we're on the subject of saying about like companies saying, oh, you know, we're healthy and use this product, the gatekeepers, there's another brand actually called Simple. I don't know if you've heard of that. Have you got that in the States?
I'm not sure. I'd have to do some research.
Well, it's in the UK and it's in Australia, okay? And it's saying there's no harsh chemicals, there's no artificial perfumes, it doesn't upset your skin, there's no alcohol, there's no parabens, and there's no animal derived ingredients. You look at that and you think, great. It says it's #1 in the UK. Wow, brilliant. There's finally, you all right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good.
There's finally something. But then you read the ingredients and it's like, all right, well, there's this, and that. I actually don't have the box for this now, so I can't even tell you what's in there. But when I did read it, I thought, no, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with the things that's in this. It's a shame I threw the box away for that, actually, because I could have listed the ingredients that I'm not happy with. Yeah. But that was one of those things that I bought thinking, oh, I'm in a rush. There's no health store at the moment. I'll get that. And then when I read it, I was like, no, I'm not happy with that. So always read the labels. Even if it says this is simple, there's no like harsh chemical, always read, because there'll be something in there. I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, there's something in there. Especially if you get it from like a main drugstore, for example, you know, or a Walmart. That's my personal experience. everyone has to do their own sort of research and shopping and things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel it's getting a little better sometimes when you go into these drugstores now, like a CVS or Walgreens or even a Walmart. You could find the alternatives, but you, like you said, you really got to look. And then sometimes when you're in a tight spot and you need something, maybe it's better to get the one that has, they don't test on animals and they don't have like parabens, or they might have this, but at least they don't have some of it.
That's the thing. I mean, it's hard, if you're vegan and you don't want something that's been tested on animals, it's like, I'm going to go for that. But then you could be harming your own body at the same time because there's chemicals in there. You know what I'm saying? It's really difficult to keep on top of it if you wanted to be vegan and chemical free, all of it combined.
Yeah, it's tough. It takes a little bit of work, but it can be done. We're my thing is, I just tell people just to cut down. That's really the best thing you could do, is use the least amount of these products. Let your body do its own thing. That's what I've noticed in my life. I just don't wash my hair as often. I wash it like once a year and it's fine. The smell, it's fine.
You wash it once a year?
No, I do. I wash it maybe like a couple times a week, but
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm hardly ever serious. So what about now? You want to start talking about parabens now? Because that's something I've heard about, but I really don't know what the effects of them are. I've seen things that say no parabens. So I'm like, well, they must be bad then.
Yeah, 100%. So parabens have been linked to breast cancer. You'll find parabens in a lot of products, but they're not going to be listed as just a paraben. They're going to have a prefix attached. So it could be, I don't know, for example, I don't even know if this exists, but for example, methyl paraben, something like that. So you just got to read, if it's got the word paraben in it, avoid, because it has been linked to breast cancer. It's been found in breast cancer tissue. So that's another thing that the body's trapped and stored for a long time. So I'm just going to see if I can find a product with a paraben in here. I'm sure I would be able to find it somewhere.
Well, it sounds like parabens are another one of these chemicals, these toxic chemicals that'll build up cumulatively after a while. Like, they don't get flushed out of the body. So yeah, those are the ones you really want to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just looking now at this moisturizer. We have a Nivea one. I'm really picking on Nivea today. So they have one here, and it's called ethyl paraben. Ethyl paraben. So like I said, it had a prefix on there, but it still
And
said
what is it?
paraben.
What kind of product is that?
This is a hand cream. This is a moisturizer. So you tend to find that in a lot of these kind of products, moisturizers. It's very popular in there. I'm pretty sure shampoos also have parabens in there. So yeah, you really don't want to be mucking around with that one if you're trying to avoid getting cancer. I mean,
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. And it's really funny because I try to tell people that this goes to everything that we're told when we're told that we're not good enough, as people, you're not good enough. You need this, you need these chemicals to make your better. Look at your skin, look at this, look at that. You need all these other exterior chemicals. Well, how long have humans been around for? And we didn't always need all these chemicals. Now, I'm not saying that everything is bad. Just like anything, sometimes there's good things and you could use them to benefit yourself. But a thousand years ago, we didn't have shampoo with parabens in it. So I think there's a balance there that can be struck. That's really the key, to use less, I think.
yeah, 100%. While we're on the subject of the effects as well, so they can mimic hormones. So again, it can trick your body into using a synthetic hormone instead of producing its own hormone. So also the timing of when your hormones are used by the body, that's up to your body. When does it need to use this hormone? Why? But if you're using things that mimic that, your body's not in control of when you're using it and why. So you've got an overload of hormone in your body at times when you're not needing it, for example, That's probably why it's been found in breast cancer, because obviously women have estrogen. If you have too much estrogen, it's going to affect the body in a bad way, because too much of anything is not good for you, even if it's natural, okay? So then I think that's probably why it's related to breast cancer, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, anytime there's an imbalance in the body like that, you're introducing all these levels of chemicals that should not be that way in your body, and it's just going to throw everything out of whack. It, like I said, comes back to balance.
Mm. It does. It does throw everything out of whack. That's completely what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
Your body's getting confused, and it's not good.
Yeah, and I know that correlation isn't causation, but if you see the rise in the use in these chemicals in the past 100 years or so, and then you also see the rise in cancer in our society, it's
Mm.
like maybe we should look at this, everybody. I
No,
don't know.
don't do that, Brandon. Let's blame the sun, something that's been around, for thousands of years. Don't blame chemicals. Blame the sun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you don't look at these ancient Egypt hieroglyphs and they're all like, "Oh, we're dying of sun cancer." There wasn't a sun cancer fucking glyph. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there was, but I mean, come on, man.
I mean, people say, oh, look, there's a hole in the ozone layer, but that's been caused by chemicals too, if that's true.
Well, actually, that's actually been disproven. Maybe chemicals had some effects, but a lot of it is just has to do with that section of the world because the poles are the way that the ozone layer is dispersed in the atmosphere. It has to do with the poles, like the North and South Pole. So Australia, you're really close to the South Pole, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm sure that's what it has to do with.
Interesting, because I didn't know that. So I'm glad that you brought that up just then.
Yeah, and I'm not defending chemicals. I'm sure chemicals had some effect, but this is, sometimes there's natural occurrences that people will take advantage of, so then they could tax you more. So it's.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the airplane.
Oh yeah, yeah. The airplanes are terrible.
Airport tax, airplane tax, all that stuff. You buy a flight, 70% of that payment is for a tax. It's insane.
Yeah, it's really insane, and the whole justification behind it's insane. But that's not what this podcast is about. So I want to not get derailed because I almost started talking about more stuff about economics. But yeah, parabens, that's crazy. Breast cancer, I mean, that's something that, my grandmother had breast cancer. She passed away a few years ago, but prior to that, maybe about 10 years ago, she had breast cancer. So that's something that affects a lot of people, and no one's talking about that.
100%. And while we're on that subject, sorry to hear about your grandmother, by the way. But when we think about deodorants, this is another thing. So a lot of the deodorants have got metals in, such as aluminium. Again, think about what a woman does.
No, I just love that because in the United States we say aluminum, and I love aluminium so much better. Aluminium just sounds way better. Aluminum is like aluminum. It's aluminium.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You remind me of a TV show I saw years ago, but I won't get into it. But having that debate, and he's going, aluminum, and he goes, no, it's aluminium, and he's going, no, it's aluminum, and he's like, no, it's aluminium. It's like... Anyway, so it's been fine, right? So it's in antiperspirants, right? So for example, again, women, oh, I need to shave my armpits. Let's take away all of that top of the skin, and then spray a load of fucking, oh, I just swore.
I don't know if you know this, but you can say whatever the fuck you want, so it's cool.
All right, good. Spray a load of fucking chemical shit on there and some heavy metals, let it absorb, that's brilliant. And then go out for the day. Maybe do that twice a day, a bit of a spray. And then we're finding breast cancers with these particles inside. And when you think about it, your armpit actually is connected to breast tissue. So to me, there's a direct correlation there, That's what I think anyway.
Yeah, especially with aluminum, because aluminum is a metal that it's not going to go anywhere. And I know that already has been linked to tumors under the arm that I've seen. That's why I stopped using it years ago. Now I'll still use deodorant, but I just don't use the antiperspirant one. And that's one you could look at. It's really big eyes. And this is one. So, if you're just getting into this and you're like, oh, I don't know, I got to start off. This is a great place to start off is your deodorant. Cause you could just you can even get another name brand deodorant that just doesn't have aluminum. And then next time, maybe try some natural, whatever. But yeah,
well, 100%.
It's a good balance.
I actually use roll-ons now. And to be fair, I've said this to you before. This sounds a bit gross, but I actually don't wear deodorant all the time if I don't have to, because I feel as though it's healthy for you to excrete and sweat. It's healthy. You need to do it. It's how the body kind of eliminates toxins, yeah? So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
for sure.
completely blocking it up all the time and preventing that process, that can't be very good either for, you know, your body to eliminate things. For example, if you get a fever and you're sweating, your body's doing that because it's propelling out the toxins and things inside your body, yeah?
Yeah, I heard that sweat lodges and saunas are really good for that because you
Mm.
sweat out all the toxins. Yeah, and that's really important. That's something that's not really understood. And that's why when you sweat, you smell because you're getting rid of all these nasty chemicals in your body and toxins.
100%. And I think under your armpits and like around here, there are, I've actually forgotten the name of it now. What is it? It's like
Glands,
yeah, I think it's your glands. But I can't remember the scientific name for them now. But they
pituitary
actually
gland,
they filter the body, and sometimes you can find lymph nodes.
lymph nodes.
That's
There we
right.
go. Yep, yep,
Yeah, yeah. So I think you've got lymph nodes here. Is that correct? Because they can get swollen. Is that
yep.
true?
Hmm.
And also in the armpits. So if you're fucking around with that, and you're getting, a lot of cancers are found in the lymph nodes too.
Yeah, and if you're putting aluminum and all these chemicals directly on your lymph nodes, yeah, maybe it is affecting it.
And even if you're not doing it directly, it still can spread through the bloodstream regardless. So it can go to anywhere when you think about it. While we're on the topic of deodorants, I use this one now. In my personal opinion, think that these crystals are a good natural way to stop you smelling and sweating when you want to. I don't know about you. I don't know what you use.
I just use I tried Tom's before and it was pretty good, but I use like Old Spice now, but it's not it doesn't have aluminum in it. It's just a regular deodorant one. But I hardly use it. Like I just use a little bit of it. That's the thing. I don't know. I just try to use less.
Yeah, exactly like what I was saying, and that's because you don't need it every day all the time, I don't think. And just take a shower if it's that bad and you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Or I'll still even put it on after I shower but it's just really light, like a dab, like you don't have to go crazy with it.
yeah.
So
And like we were saying, a roll on is a lot healthier than to use the spray. If you're gonna use anything, then use a
yeah.
roll on.
And now I have
Mm.
my list of toxic chemicals. So immediately after this, I'm going to go check everything. So maybe maybe that's what I use right now, but tomorrow I'll be using something else. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've got one here. You have this brand in the States, Dove.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's huge. Hmm.
Yeah, so look, I looked at this and it's got aluminum, aluminum chlorohydrate, glycerin. I don't know what that is, actually, to be honest with you. It's got also EDTA. That's shortened, so that's obviously a huge chemical that I don't want to use. And then there's some other ones that I can't even pronounce, and I just thought, no, I'm not using that because it just sounds crap.
Yeah, I think glycerin is like a fat or something, or I don't know, probably way getting this wrong, but yeah, I don't want to. I hear you. You could just get a
Mm.
natural soap, and that's really all you need. Just a little bit of soap. You don't got to go crazy. Everybody likes to lather up, and I think it comes from this whole germ theory. Everybody thinks they're covered with germs and they have to scrub their entire body every time. And
Mm.
I'm not saying not to shower, but you could use these natural soaps and just a little bit with a washcloth. Like you don't got to go crazy. There's oils in your body, especially if you're eating healthy. And this all goes hand in hand. If you're eating the foods you need and you're being healthy and you're staying away from all this chemicals and toxic crap, it's going to come out in your skin, and you're going to have, you won't have to work as hard on everything.
And look, yeah, and not only that, we're drinking this stuff too. We're drinking it. It's in the water system.
Yeah, especially the plastic and then all the chemicals. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, you are ingesting it and things like that. So there is a really good company called Dr. Bronner's. Have you heard of Dr. Bronner's?
I don't think so. Do you have anything there?
It's just in that cupboard over there. So
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Oh
gonna go
yeah,
and get it.
yeah. Go ahead.
So as far as soaps go, like washing yourself, and I use this for a lot of things. So I don't know if you can see it there.
Hmm.
Castile soap. So you can get it in liquid form, or you can get it like in a solid soap. Okay, so it's good to use on the body, and it's all natural. I have checked it out. It's quite famous because of how good it is. Even the bottle's been recycled. It's recycled plastics. It's not tested on animals or anything like that. I use this on my body. I use it as laundry detergent. I use it to wash my dishes with. You can also use soap nuts for your laundry too, but that's another thing we can get into in a minute with what you're washing your clothes with and what you're using in your house to spray. You know what I'm saying? Air fresheners and all things like that. But this is good if you want to just be a bit more natural and think about the water system. Think about what's going down the plug at the end of the day or twice a day. Don't know how much you shower. But they actually do toothpaste too, lip balm, things like that. So yeah, that's the number one brand that I would recommend that you can use for a multitude of things.
Awesome. I'm not sure if it's available in the States, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You can buy everything online now, everybody. So
You
go
could,
look,
yeah,
go
you
look
can order it
online.
online. Mm, that's it. Just go on Amazon or whatever, you know. And
That's
just
right.
check out your little local health store. That's what I do. Like there's a little health store down the road from me, and I go in there and they sell a lot of these products. Walmart doesn't sell these kind of things, annoyingly, you know.
Yeah, all
It
those little
takes a bit
health
more
stores are,
effort, yeah. It
yeah, they're
takes a
all
bit more effort even just generally shopping for these things, sadly. But you know, like you said, it's better for your health long term. It's better for
yeah.
the environment.
It also depends on how you look at it. I look at it like it's a hunt and it's like a scavenger hunt. And I'm like, ooh, what can I find here? You know, I went to a CVS drugstore the other day because I didn't want to walk in a Walmart just to buy detergent. And I was able to find, like, it was the Ajax detergent, but it was the free one. It was like free of all the chemicals and parabens and all that stuff. I mean, there might have been some bad stuff in there still, but and it was on sale for $2 at CVS. I was like, score. So you never know. It's like a little scavenger hunt, and then you're, you know, you go to these little stores or markets that you never know what you're going to find.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, I feel as though when you do go to the smaller places, you're actually helping your local economy with that, you know, because there are a lot of family run businesses that want to create their own natural soaps and things like that instead of paying into these big brands in your Walmarts and things. So that's another side to it that I feel better about when I do the scavenger hunting, like I said, you know, it takes more effort, but you're also helping your local community, your local economy, you know,
Yeah, yeah, it makes a
same
lot of
local
sense.
thing. Yeah, so I just wanted to get on to while we're on the subject of this one. When I said I use it to clean my laundry, because when you think about your laundry soaps and detergents and powders, there's so many bad things in there too. A lot of irritants, a lot of things that's bad for the environment, a lot of things that goes into the water and it stays there. It doesn't biodegrade. The molecules are there till God knows when, years. You know, it could take years. So just think about what you're washing your laundry with, because then you're wearing that. It's going on your skin. You're sleeping in it when you go to bed. You know, you're drinking it when it goes down the drain. So you can use that. You can use soap nuts, like I said earlier on. You can even buy some natural
What did
powders.
you say? Soap nuts?
Yeah, soap nuts. Like you can buy these little things called soap nuts, and you put them in, and they last about 10 washes or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I personally am not a fan of them. I don't feel like they work that well for me. That's why I use the Dr. Bronner's. And then you can recycle the packaging. That's the other thing. When you think about this stuff, you think about the packaging that you're using too, don't you? What happens with that? Is it cardboard? Can you recycle it? Can you recycle the plastic? There's another factor that goes into these things. So yeah, that was it with the
Yeah,
laundry.
dryer sheets too. Dryer sheets are a big one. I would always suggest getting natural dryer sheets because the chemicals they put in there are horrible, and then they get into the air, so then you're breathing it in. And that's a real easy one. There's all kinds of natural dryer sheets you can get. There's a really good brand at Target that I was searching out. I don't remember the name of it, but just look at Target, everybody. I don't know, but yeah. So I think people don't think about this. These are things, especially the laundry detergent, that's just something that you've always used Tide, or you've always used the whatever brand is that you have, and you're used to that smell, and you know you want your brand. But at the end of the day, man, like you said, you're sleeping in these sheets, you're wearing it all the time, so it's always on your skin. And if it's something that's not good for you and it's getting absorbed into your body, I mean, ugh, you really got
Well,
to take a look at it.
I've even gone to the lengths of using essential oils as like a freshener rather than using the store bought what you call fabric softeners now, because I think not only are you sleeping in them, wearing them, but say it's winter, for example, and you're drying your clothes indoors, and you're breathing in all of the the vapors from the clothes you just washed. You're breathing that all in. Especially in England, we put our clothes on the radiator to dry because it's that cold. Obviously, you got your radiators on, and the clothes aren't going to dry. So you whack it all on, and then that's causing condensation. You're breathing all that in. What's in the condensation? Probably all these chemicals and things like that. And it's the same with also, we were talking about how people clean their home. For example, if we're in a pandemic and people are scared about chemicals and germs, they're using all these antibacterial sprays and air fresheners, Febreze, all these things. You're breathing them all in too. And there's a lot of chemicals in there that are affecting your lungs. And you're trying to keep your lungs healthy because there's a virus going around, but then you're spraying all of these things, which is affecting the quality of your lung health, and it's getting all in your airways and things like that. So that's something that I also wanted to bring up with these sprays. Like big brand like Febreze, antibacterial sprays and things like that.
Yeah, I think everybody uses Febreze in the States, it's I don't know, it's funny. We want everything to smell good, but then we end up inhaling all these toxic chemicals, it's crazy.
Yeah, and we're affecting our lung health. We're affecting the trachea. I mean, I've had sore throats from using some of these things. And I thought, that doesn't feel good for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So, so what are the worst offenders in this area as far as, household cleaning products and Febreze and all that stuff?
I'm just having a look now because I did have some, it's funny, they started hiding the ingredients list on a lot of things. Don't you find that quite strange, Brandon? Peel the label back to find the ingredients. Really?
You're just a conspiracy theorist, Kayleigh, so stop it and shut up. There's no nefarious intentions behind why they would want to hide all these toxic chemicals. Don't worry, just use it. It's fine.
So we've got in a lot of house cleaning products. We've got EDTA, that's short for something, isn't it? Glycerol laurate and hydroxy acids. They are the main offenders in sprays. So, for example, I'll give you that. That's like just a general one from, we have Coles over in Australia. It's like a Walmart thing. So strangely, you can find natural germ killers in foods, vinegar, lemon, So this is also a good air freshener too. And all it is orange oil and lemon oil in there. So yeah, they do exist too. You can find natural ones for that. And like you were saying with soap earlier, soap actually just knocks germs off because it lubricates and just knocks them off. You don't need antiseptics and things, as you were saying earlier on. Soap is good enough on its own. So yeah, that's the thing with the sprays, with the and you're spraying things because you want people to walk into your home and it smells nice. You don't want them breathing in a shitstorm of chemicals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like that lemon stuff and all the natural things. You're right. And even essential oils are good for that too. And another thing I found too that you can use besides chemicals, you can use either sage or you can use what's the other one? I always forget the name of it, but is you could burn the little sticks of wood. You know what I'm talking about?
The incense sticks?
Yeah, the incense sticks, but there's also like little chunks of wood that you can get. I forget the name of it, but it'll come back to me. Oh, I think it's Palo Santo, it's called. Have you heard of that? Yeah, you can even get on Amazon, and they're just like these little sticks of wood, and you light it, and then you just blow it out, and it just has smoke, and it smells kind of almost like a fireplace, but just not that strong, you know, but it just smells a little bit like burning wood. It's really nice. It cleanses the whole area.
It's better than the smell of burning chemicals then, isn't it?
Yeah. Chemicals burning your nose.
Yeah, 100%. I'll have to look into that because I've not heard of that actually, to be honest. I actually even have my reservations about incense sticks, if I'm honest. I don't think they're too healthy for you, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that's why I like this Palo Santo, because it's just natural. It's just wood. It's just a kind of wood that takes the flame really easily.
So I just want to add one more note while we're on the household chemicals thing. So there's actually been blood tests and urine tests that have been done, and these chemicals have been found in those samples. So one of them is called bisphenol A, and that's been detected in screening tests for pregnant women when their bloods have been taken. So that's also another bad chemical that should be avoided. So think about pregnant women. This is getting ingested or digested or absorbed by them, and then it's going to the unborn child, you know, and it's been found, you know, the umbilical cord and all this thing. So I think pregnant women especially need to be more careful about what they're using because of that, for example. And look, the fact that it's been found in blood and urine, it shows that it is getting ingested or digested or absorbed by the body. It's proof. It's scientific evidence there, you know, that it's there. It's inside the body.
Yeah, that can't be a good thing at all. I mean, I can't understand the argument for people to say, "Oh, well, it's not. It's fine." You know, it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I know, 100%. And look, a lot of like the FDA, after a few years, they've banned certain chemicals. You know what? There was, for example, things in makeup that they've banned after years, but that's after people have been using them for decades, maybe.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. They don't care. You know, I don't know. I feel like it's more about special interests, but again, that's not what this podcast is about. It's not how it got there, but it's more about just be conscious of it.
Yeah, 100%. I actually wonder if they are aware of it and just don't bother because there's a lot of money involved in cosmetics and products and things. With companies, money talks. Yeah, money talks until one of them gets sued.
Well, that's
Which
still money
happens.
talking. That's money talking the other way. Now they got to pay it out, so then they'll stop using it. It's the consequence, you know.
Exactly.
So, but
It's hobbies.
unfortunately, the way our system works, people are less vigilant because of something. So people will be like, "Oh, the FDA is great. You know, that's good that we have that there," because then they could tell us. Well, it's like, no, because it's like a false sense of security. You know, we don't, I mean, we're not going to get into stuff like that in this podcast, but what I'm saying is it's a false sense of security. People think, oh, the FDA is there. They got my back. I don't have to check it. But it's like, no, you need personal responsibility, everybody. This is you taking personal responsibility to take 2 seconds to read the back of the label and know what you're putting on or in your body or your family's body.
100%. And also there's a lot of contradiction with things like the FDA and other, you know, bodies in Europe, for example, in Australia. Like I said to you before, the States has banned things that Australia hasn't. There's things in Europe that have been banned that are still in use in the States. So who's right, who's wrong? You can't trust them to look after you. You have to look after you. You could move to Europe and be like, oh, you know, it's safe to use this, but in the States it's banned. Well, who's right then? Don't trust any of them. Only
Yeah,
trust yourself.
that's right. Do your own research.
Exactly. I mean, there's been the chemicals found in makeups and things like that that have been, you know, found to be bad for your health. I mean, they used to use lead and things, didn't they? So, you know, I mean, there's things in makeups and hair gels and hairsprays and things like that, which are hormone disruptors. They're called phthalates. So that's another chemical that you should avoid. Talc it can be in like powdered makeup and things like that. And they've been able to be used for years.
Is that the same thing that's in talcum powder?
Yeah. So a lot of powdered makeup and things like that is the talcum
Or even
powder.
just like body powder also?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the
Yeah.
problem with that?
Well, it's talc, so it's cancerous, isn't it? So, like we saw earlier on, they've been sued. So Johnson and Johnson was sued not because of their product being a Johnson and Johnson product. They were sued because generally talc is cancerous. But when you think about talc, is found in a lot of different things. It's not Johnson and Johnson. It's talc. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's the chemical itself.
Yeah, again, look, you can get talc-free makeup and things like that. You can get makeup that's like made of beeswax and things like that. It can be done. I wear makeup. You know, I love bright colors
Yeah,
and things like that.
I was
You
actually
know.
going to say that, but I was going to say really quick about Johnson Johnson. I think they also got sued because they knew that it was cancerous or whatever the problem was. But everyone look into that for yourself, obviously, because that's,
Mhm.
we're not experts on that. But yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you look lovely today, Kayleigh. So I was going to say, hey, we're talking all this about makeup and how it's dangerous, but apparently you must have found something good because I don't see you as a hypocrite, especially to come on a show to talk about chemicals.
Yeah, so there are brands. I'll go through now because I've actually got a list of things. So for my beauty things, I like to use if you want to replace talc. So say you want to use like a dry shampoo on your hair or something like that, you can use cornstarch powder. I use cornstarch powder a lot. That replaces the talc. Coconut oil, I'm sure you know coconut oil is good for your skin. Um, if you want to use like your own body scrub, so you're saying earlier on with plastics found in some body scrubs for your face, make your own. I use avocado oil with sugar in it and just mix it around and then exfoliate myself with it. Hair dyes, I dye my hair now because I'm getting a bit older. There's a few greys in there. I use henna. I use henna hair dye. Don't use black henna hair dye though. Black henna hair dye contains PPD. So yeah, that's one to avoid. And I don't wear nail polish. Some people do. That can contain formaldehyde. That's pretty bad for you. I don't really think I need to go into the why formaldehyde is bad. It's been used for embalming bodies and things like that. So you've got some brands which does natural makeups and nail polishes. Someone like Zoya, you can buy that online. But what you need to do is, I actually have an eyeshadow. I've left it over there. I'm just going to go and get that because that's a brand too.
Yeah, that's fine. I think what you can do is send me some links to these brands that you're mentioning, especially the ones you could buy online, and I'll just put them in the show description in the link so people could go check them out.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. So there's an eyeshadow by a brand that I use called Inica, and that's talc free. But you know what it is with these brands, okay? So say you go to Zoya, you go online, you have a look. Oh, everything's natural. It's not. You need to still check everything methodically. Every ingredient on any product that they're selling. Is it a lipstick, a nail polish, an eyeshadow? Great. I need to methodically go through the ingredients list. That's what I do. I have to do that. There's also Burt's Bees. They do good like lip balms, tinted lip balms. I use them, but the problem is if you're vegan, that's probably not going to be your best bet because it's got an animal product in it.
Oh, because it's bees.
Yeah. So, yeah, I will actually go through also a shampoo that I use. This is a British brand, but you can buy it online. It's called Neil's Yard. And it's really, really good. It's the best one I've used. I've gone through the ingredients list. A lot of it's just like essential oils, plant oils, and it smells really good. Recycled plastic bottle. Yeah, and it actually works really well. I did try and not wash my hair once. I lasted about 6 weeks. It didn't work for me. My hair wouldn't clean itself. It wouldn't. It didn't want to do it.
I like the symbol on that bottle. That was really cool. It's like the tree of life with the roots and everything.
Yes, it is actually, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, but we can put links in, like you said. But look, when you don't take my word for it and say, Kayleigh said that this company, Neil's Yard, is all natural and brilliant. I'll buy every product they've got going in the store. No, don't do that because you need to check everything. That's what I've discovered.
I think that's the better overall, I guess you could say, message or theme of this podcast is that you have to take the matters in your own hands, and no one's going to look out for yourself like you are. So why don't you do this? And then you could spread the word to people around you, and that's how we help each other get better and get healthier.
100%. I just want to talk about a toothpaste as well. So I use this brand toothpaste. It's called Convita. A lot of it's just got bicarb in it, when you want to clean your teeth. Bicarb's great for that. And if you can find a toothpaste with bicarb in it and you want to have whiter teeth, that's great. And it actually says on it, it's free from sodium lauryl sulfate and fluoride. A lot of toothpaste have fluoride in, right? So if you want to avoid drinking fluoride and stuff like that, get a natural toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it. While we're on the beauty subject also, I keep going off on tangents, don't I? Hair dyes. This is something else I wanted to talk about. You want to dye your hair black, you go to the drugstore and there's actually some chemicals in there called PPDs. They're mostly found in brown and black hair dyes, to be honest with you, and they're irritants, allergens, and also hairdressers, okay, they have a higher rate of bladder cancer. And I've actually got a link to this if you wanted to add it in at some point at the end. And so what does that say? There's a direct correlation between bladder cancer and being a hairdresser, because they're consistently working with chemicals and hair dyes and things like that, and it's getting on their hands. So a lot of people have had allergic reactions to the hair dyes. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Have you seen where people's face swells up and things?
Yeah, I think I've seen pictures and stuff.
Yeah, so you want to be careful with hair dyes too. If you're consistently dyeing your hair with for example, let me see, is it Schwarzkopf, that brand? Something like that. Or Garnier, for example.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something like that. You can find $10 in your local drugstore, maybe $20. Avoid them ones. They're toxic. I've read the ingredients list and they're about that long. I was like, I give up halfway. I've already saw about 5 cancerous things here. I'm done. But yeah, so look, a lot of the PPDs can cause bladder cancer. So yeah, be careful with that. Hairsprays too, we've got PVPs in there. They can cause lung damage. As we were saying earlier, you spraying molecules into the air, it's going to affect your lungs. So yeah. So for example, something like that, avoid. I just had a look at the ingredients list here quickly, and it's in another language. It's in German. Isn't that great? And they're selling that in Australia. All right. There you
go. All right. Is there anything else any other chemicals or anything else you want to talk about?
Let me see. No, I'm pretty much done actually.
Awesome.
I just wanted to add though, we were talking about, to say people have been in lockdown and self-isolating and things like that. Imagine your daily routine if you're using all of these chemicals and you're in lockdown and you're indoors, you're constantly breathing it in, washing yourself in it, brushing your teeth with, you know what I'm saying? It's bad.
In dust also, you could probably breathe in a lot of dust on top of all these chemicals, and it's just irritating your lungs, and then that's going to make them more susceptible to these chemicals.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I could see why there might be some more sickness, and that's what, people have already been talking about this, so it's not like it's news, but if you haven't heard of it, hey, staying in your house, staying away from the sun is not healthy, so don't do it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening to the show. Like I said, we're going to put all the links to some of the brands and some of the things that we talked about underneath this. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you like this video, subscribe. You can check my website out. It's morelawsmoreproblems.com. We got blogs, videos, memes. You can also contact me there. If you want to check me out on float.app, Brandon Smith. And then also you could check me out over here, Twitter, Instagram, and then my other website, comedylol.com. That's where you can give us money through Patreon or PayPal. All right, guys, thank you, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you, Kayleigh.
See you, bye.